Hey everyone, and welcome back to Chapters of Growth. You know, we love diving deep into these books, and today we're going to be taking a close look at Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol S. Dweck.
Yeah, I love this one. It's such a good one.
It is, and I think it's really relevant for anyone, whether you're in school or in your career or just looking to kind of grow as a person. So like we do on the show, we'll be unpacking the big ideas from the book.
Kind of like a guided study session.
Exactly. And I think what I really appreciate about Mindset is that it's so positive and empowering.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's really all about this idea that we can change and grow and reach our full potential no matter where we're starting from.
Okay, so let's jump right in. One of the core concepts in the book is this idea of fixed mindset versus growth mindset.
Right.
Can you break that down for us? What's the main difference between those two mindsets?
So imagine you think about your intelligence or your talents, right? Someone with a fixed mindset believes those things are basically set in stone. Like you're either born smart or you're not. You're either naturally athletic or you're not.
Gotcha.
But a growth mindset says, you know what? Our abilities are much more like muscles. We can train them, we can develop them, we can get better over time with effort and practice.
I really love the anecdote that Dweck uses about, I think it was children choosing puzzles.
Oh, yeah.
And it really kind of illustrates this difference in mindset. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So Dweck, she did this research where she gave kids a choice between two different puzzles, right? One was pretty easy and one was more challenging. And she found that kids who had more of a growth mindset, they were actually drawn to the tougher puzzles, even though it meant they might struggle a little bit more.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like they were welcoming that struggle because they saw it as an opportunity to get smarter.
They weren't afraid of making mistakes.
Right. They didn't see those mistakes as failures. They saw them as part of the learning process.
I see. So how do you think this mindset difference plays out in, everyday life?
Oh, it affects everything. Think about how we react to challenges, Dweck talks about this. She kind of paints this picture of having a bad day, right?
Oh, we all have those.
Yeah, we all have those. Maybe you get a bad grade on a test, or you get a parking ticket, or a friend is acting kind of distant.
Oh, been there.
Yeah, right. So someone with a fixed mindset, they might really spiral in those situations. They might start doubting themselves, feeling like a failure, maybe even just give up entirely.
Yeah, it's easy to get discouraged.
Totally. But someone with a growth mindset, even though they might feel equally disappointed, they're more likely to ask themselves, okay, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? So for the bad grade, maybe they would analyze their study habits or talk to the teacher. For the parking ticket, they'd be more mindful of signs next time. And with their friend, they might reach out and try to have a conversation.
So it's not about just being positive all the time. It's more about how we approach and respond to those challenges.
Absolutely. And here's something that might surprise you. Dweck's research also shows that praising intelligence can actually be counterproductive.
Wait, really? I always thought praising kids for being smart was a good thing.
No, it seems intuitive, right? Like we want to encourage kids.
Yeah.
But what studies have found is that when kids are constantly praised for their intelligence, they actually become afraid of making mistakes. They become more focused on looking smart than actually learning and growing.
So it can actually create more of a fear of failure.
Exactly. They'd rather avoid a challenge than risk looking dumb.
That makes sense. So what's a better approach then?
Dweck suggests praising effort and process instead. So instead of saying, wow, you're so smart, you might say, I love how you kept trying different strategies on that problem, or you really persevered even when it got tough.
I see. So it's more about focusing on the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. It's about encouraging that love of learning and that growth mindset.
Okay. So if you're finding this conversation as insightful as I am, I really think you'll love the book. We'll have a link to purchase Mindset, The New Psychology of Success in the episode description.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
All right, now let's move on to another really interesting area that Dweck explores, and that's how our mindset plays out in relationships. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, this is a big one.
It is, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't necessarily think that your mindset about, intelligence or growth would affect your love life.
Great.
But it turns out it really can.
It can, because if you have more of a fixed mindset, you're more likely to see your partner's flaws as permanent and unchanging, instead of seeing them as opportunities for growth or understanding.
And she has that example, the story of Penelope in the book. Just kept like jumping from relationship to relationship.
Yes, she was always finding something wrong.
Yeah. And like focusing on these little things.
Right. Like the ketchup on the steak incident.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ketchup on the steak. Like these little things were deal breakers for her.
Exactly. And it's like, she's seeing these flaws as like fundamental and unchangeable instead of thinking, maybe this is something we can talk about, or maybe this is something that could even change over time.
It's like she was kind of looking for reasons to end the relationships almost.
Yeah, it's like she was sabotaging herself.
Yeah.
And that's the danger of a fixed mindset in relationships. It can really prevent us from seeing the best in our partners and from working through challenges together.
Whereas a growth mindset, you would see those challenges as something that you could tackle together.
Absolutely. You'd be more focused on communicating, on supporting each other's growth.
Like a team.
Exactly.
So, I mean, this all sounds great, right? Just like having a growth mindset sounds awesome.
Right.
But how do we actually develop it? It's one thing to understand the concept.
Sure.
But how do we put it into practice in our own lives?
Well, the first step might sound a little counterintuitive.
Oh.
It's to actually embrace your fixed mindset.
Wait, what? Why would we embrace something we're trying to move away from?
Because we all have those fixed mindset tendencies. It's part of being human, right?
Right.
We all have those moments where we doubt ourselves or we get defensive or we avoid challenges. But trying to deny or ignore those tendencies actually just makes them stronger.
I see.
So the first step is to acknowledge them without judgment, to say, okay, I see you, fixed mindset, but you don't have to control me.
So it's like being aware of those thoughts and feelings without letting them dictate our actions.
Exactly. And once we're aware of them, we can start to challenge them and choose a different response.
Dweck also talks about the importance of what she calls reframing our negative thoughts.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I'm so bad at this, we can try saying, I'm still learning, but I'm getting better every day.
That's a great example. It's about shifting our self-talk from judgment to encouragement.
Okay. So think back to a time when you felt, really stuck in that fixed mindset.
Yeah.
How did it make you feel? What could you have done differently?
It's all about becoming more mindful of our thought patterns and actively choosing a more growth-oriented approach. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
We don't have to be perfectly growth-minded all the time. It's about recognizing those fixed mindset moments and making a conscious effort to shift gears.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about this idea of fixed mindset versus growth mindset.
Right.
And how it can really impact, so many different areas of our lives.
Absolutely.
As we're talking about this, I'm realizing how much my own mindset has shifted over the years. I used to be so afraid of failure that I would just avoid taking risks altogether.
Yeah, I think that's really common.
Yeah.
A lot of us are taught to see failure as like this reflection of our worth instead of just a natural part of learning and growing.
Yeah, it's like I had this fixed mindset voice in my head saying, if you don't succeed perfectly the first time, you're a failure. And it really held me back.
Yeah, those beliefs can be so powerful.
They are.
But the good news is, we can challenge those fixed mindset voices and we can start to replace them with more supportive ones.
Yeah, I love that.
It's about giving ourselves permission to mess up, to experiment, to learn along the way.
And Dweck shares some really incredible stories in the book about people who overcame incredible obstacles and achieved amazing things, all thanks to having a growth mindset.
Absolutely. Think about the story of Marva Collins.
Oh, yeah, she was amazing.
This inner city teacher who just completely transformed the lives of her students just by believing in their potential and challenging them to excel.
And she didn't let their backgrounds or their circumstances define them.
Exactly. She saw possibilities where others saw limitations.
Yeah. And her students responded to that.
They did.
With incredible growth and achievement.
Yeah, it's such a testament to the power of a teacher's mindset.
It really is.
And Dweck also talks about Jack Welch.
Oh, yeah, the CEO of GE.
Yes, legendary CEO of General Electric. And he really built this whole culture of growth and innovation at GE that propelled the company to new heights.
So it's not just about individuals. It can be about entire organizations.
Right. It's about creating that environment where people feel safe to experiment, to take risks, to learn from their mistakes. And that's when real innovation happens.
I love that.
And it's not just anecdotes. Dweck backs up her claims with a ton of research showing that a growth mindset is linked to higher levels of achievement, resilience, well-being.
Wow.
in all areas of life.
It's amazing to think that something as, like, seemingly simple as our mindset
Right.
can have such a huge impact on our lives.
Yeah, and the best part is, like, we have the power to choose that mindset.
We do.
We can choose to embrace a growth mindset and unlock our full potential.
I love that. That's so empowering. So as we're kind of wrapping up this deep dive into mindset, I want to encourage you to take some time to, like, reflect on your own beliefs, how you can cultivate a more growth-oriented approach to life.
What's one area where you'd like to challenge your fixed mindset tendencies?
Yeah, maybe it's in your relationships, your career, your personal development,
Hmm.
whatever it is, just remember that every small step towards growth counts.
It does.
And if you're looking for more inspiration and more guidance, be sure to check out Mindset, The New Psychology of Success.
The link is in the episode description.
It's a book that can truly change your life.
It really can.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into mindset.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
Yes.
Think of exploration and discovery.
If you're ready to continue your own growth journey,
Yes,
be sure to subscribe to Chapters of Growth podcast for more inspiring content.
we've got tons of great episodes coming up,
We do.
covering everything from personal development to productivity to relationships.
And don't forget, you can find a link to purchase Mindset, The New Psychology of Success in the episode description.
It's a book that can truly change your life.
So keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in your own limitless potential.
Thanks for listening. Wow, it's been really fascinating talking about mindset today, and really kind of like unpacking this idea that our beliefs can shape our reality. And the really cool thing is that we get to choose those beliefs, to embrace a growth mindset and really unlock our potential.
And that potential is there for all of us. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't matter like what your background is or your circumstances or even your past experiences.
Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, and I love that Dweck's message is just so empowering, because it's like it's reminding us that we're not limited by our current abilities.
Right.
We can always learn and grow and evolve.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah. And that journey of growth, I mean, that's what makes life so exciting, right?
Absolutely.
It's about embracing challenges, learning from our mistakes,
Yeah.
and just constantly striving to be better.
Yeah. And that striving doesn't have to be like a grueling process or stressful. It can actually be really joyful and fulfilling.
When we approach life with a growth mindset, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it opens us up to new possibilities,
Yes.
new connections, new adventures.
And it makes us more resilient, you
Yeah.
know?
When we face those inevitable setbacks, it helps us become more creative in our problem solving, more compassionate in our interactions with others.
And that compassion, it extends to ourselves too, right?
It does.
It's like with a growth mindset, we can treat ourselves with more kindness and understanding.
Yeah.
We recognize that mistakes are part of the process and we don't have to beat ourselves up when we, fall short. And it's like, that self-reflection piece
Yeah.
is so important
It-
because it allows us to become more aware
Right.
of our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors.
And that awareness is really the first step toward, like, making positive changes, right?
Yeah, it's like we become the architects of our own lives.
Exactly.
And that's really what mindset is all about, isn't it?
It is.
It's about empowering us to create the lives that we want,
Yes.
lives that are filled with purpose and growth and fulfillment. So as we wrap up this episode, I just want to encourage everyone listening
Yeah.
to ask themselves, what's one small step that you can take today to cultivate a more growth-oriented mindset?
Yeah, maybe it's picking up a copy of Mindset.
Yeah, we've got a link in the episode description.
Definitely check it out. It's a game changer.
It is.
And whatever that small step is, just take it, right?
It all adds up.
It does.
Those small steps lead to big changes over time.
Okay, well, that wraps up our deep dive into Mindset, the New Psychology of Success.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us on Chapters of Growth podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Subscribe to our channel to stay inspired and keep growing.